Hello and welcome to Connected episode 357. It's made possible this week by our sponsors, Instabug, Squarespace, and Smile. My name is Stephen Hackett. I'm joined by Mr. Federico Viticci.
Hello, Stephen. How are you?
I am good. Myke is away this week. We're in the time of year where we're, doing some light vacationing. So Myke is taking a week off. It's just me and you.
And we're going to talk about weird topics. Yes, I am.
This document is maybe the most scattershot we've done in a while. It's just like a bunch of random things, and you came with some stuff, and I came with some stuff, and it's gonna be an adventure for all of us.
Yes, it's gonna be the most adventurous episode of Connected you've ever listened to. So strap in because it's gonna be fun.
Fun in the summer. What would you call that?
I don't know. Somebody should try and come up with a format for that kind of podcast. The summer of enjoyment, the summer of amusement. I don't know. Steven, we had some follow-up. Specifically, it's about you and your Kickstarter for your Apple event calendar. So congrats.
Thank you.
You've been 1,000% funded.
Yeah, across 1,000% funded in the final hour. So thank you all who pledged. I've been hard at work on the calendar and am getting ready to have some samples printed, and things are moving full steam ahead. So if you backed that, I really do appreciate it. It went so much bigger than I ever anticipated, and it's going to be an adventure to get them all out the door, but that's, I think, part of the fun in a weird way. You've been sending me pictures of somebody that you're following who I think is doing a Kickstarter, and they're shipping things, and you're just like, this is coming for you.
Yes, I'm just getting you ready. Like, I've been sending you pictures of people preparing boxes and shipping things and mailing things. And I've been sending you a bunch of links and photos like this, being like, this is gonna be your life soon. I just wanna make sure that you're prepared to have how many backers? Is that number public?
It was like 1,100.
Wow.
Something.
Okay, so soon you're gonna be able to tell us what it feels like to mail 1,000 things. To people.
It was 1,164 backers.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Most people do not mail 1,000 things in a lifetime.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And I'm going to do it in just a few weeks.
Yes.
So if you're a backer, keep an eye out. I'm going to be posting regular updates, keeping you informed of when they start going out. So that'll be fun.
Okay. So I'm going to let you do it because I know this is important to you.
Yes.
We can talk about the Mac Pro.
There are dozens of us who care about this.
Sure.
There's been this rumor that there's going to be an updated Intel Mac Pro before the Apple Silicon version comes out. And if you read Mark Gurman's very spicy tweet a few minutes ago, it was like, there's your new Mac Pro. Apple has announced 3 new MPX modules, 3 new graphic options based on AMD's new Radeon, I don't know, their new system. I tried reading. Do you find that reading about GPUs just is incredibly mind-numbing? Like I just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways.
They all look the same. Like, why is the GPU industry so stuck upon like these weird names? I'm pretty sure that the meme of two things and the handshake emoji in the middle. It's like Sony and their product names for headphones, and then GPUs and the handshake emoji in the middle. It's like, this is basically this.
RDNA2. RDNA2 is the Discord has. Yeah, so it's their new, whatever that means. 3 new options. The Radeon Pro W6800X.
Of course.
Dual W6800X and the W6900X. Nice. And you can get them right now when you configure a Mac Pro, but they will be coming as standalone purchases at some point in the near future. Apple has done this before. In fact, the GPU that's in my Mac Pro is I'm looking it up. Why doesn't it say what it is? It's the Radeon Pro W5700X. This was a GPU that came out mid-cycle, and you could get it built into the machine, and then like a few weeks later, you could buy it standalone, and I bought it and slapped it into mine. And I've been really happy with it. I don't feel like I have any need to update, but if you have a Mac Pro, and there was some discussion about this in Discord earlier, it's like, well, why does this matter? A lot of people who have these professional machines, their needs change over time, and they may need more horsepower for work they're doing now that they weren't doing before. But the other angle is longevity, that if you're going to hold on to this machine, if you're going to stay in the Intel world as long as you can, you may want to bump up something like this or add more RAM or more capacity so you have more runway in the machine for your workload. So as far as standalone units, I'm sure they're going to sell very few, but it will be an option for those who need it. And, I'm glad Apple is at least doing something. I don't expect much more to come to the Intel Mac Pro, but having new GPUs is them delivering on the promise they made when they introduced this thing a couple years ago.
But you're not going to get it.
No. What I have is perfect for my needs. And
what kind of people should be interested in this update?
I think
what kind of users?
Yeah, I think anyone who is doing any computation on their GPU where they need more compute units, more memory, these are obviously better at that. And then if you're doing really high-end 3D rendering, animation, that sort of work, I think if you're just cutting videos together in Final Cut Pro, I don't think it's a necessary upgrade. And you could spend money on the Afterburner card if you wanted to. And so it's really that high-end. I mean, if you bought a Mac Pro and you're just editing podcast on it, you probably don't need a new video card. That's going to run you probably $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay. And what does this mean for the actual Apple Silicon Mac Pro update? Is this like Apple buying itself some more time to make sure that like there's still this GPU spec bump for the Intel Mac Pro before they can get like an M2 or M2X, whatever, Mac Pro ready next year?
I kind of think it is. I think that it does buy them more time. And I think it's a nod to people who invested in this machine that it's not, even though it may be a one and done in terms of the CPU, that they didn't just completely walk away from it. I mean, they announced this machine and then, what is it, a year and a half later, like Apple Silicon is here. So they knew it was coming. And so I think it's also showing those people that they don't have a dead-end investment sitting under their desk, at least not yet.
That makes sense. Have you started thinking about your strategy for the next Mac Pro?
A little bit. I mean, I definitely am very curious, all the rumors of the half-sized and, what sort of upgradability it will be available. Of course, I want to keep a desktop setup, and because I have a Pro Display XDR, like it's a Mac Pro or a Mac Mini, and I like having a lot of storage and like having it all internal. So I want to see what it is when it comes out, but this machine is so great. Like I don't feel at this point that I'm going to be in a rush to move over. We'll see what happens when it comes out, mark my words, I guess. But as far as I can tell you today, I'm going to stay on the Mac Pro train, even after Apple Silicon. Like I think I would move to whatever that is at some point. I don't think I'm going to go back to an iMac.
I've been thinking about what I want to do with the Mac Mini, and I'm pretty sure that if Apple releases this second generation Apple Silicon based Mac Mini in late 2021, I am gonna upgrade. I think it's time. Like this rumored Mac Mini with the M1X, like pro version of the Mac Mini with the M1, I think I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
If it's like real product and it's coming this year, I think that's the computer I'm gonna get. It feels like this Mac Mini is ready to be taken to farm upstate, which will be my beach house in this case, and replace the Mac Mini on my desk with the new Apple Silicon-based version. I think it's time.
Yeah, I think that Mac Mini definitely could exist. Like it seems like such an obvious product opening, especially since the Intel One you could really spec out to be really pretty powerful, at least for a Mac Mini. And so I can totally see them having two Mac Minis. They have the M1 that's cheaper, and then they have sort of an upgraded model that uses something more powerful. Maybe it comes in space gray and they keep the silver for the other one. But I think that product exists or will exist. It's just a matter of, is it with these MacBook Pros that are, forever right around the corner, or is it something a little bit later on? I mean, you could see, right? You could see the Mac Mini, like, just like the iMac, right? There's the entry level, or like the lower end model is kind of the same as the MacBook Air, and the upper end model, so the bigger iMac and this theoretical, faster, better Mac Mini is kind of like a MacBook Pro inside. I think the Mac Mini could ride on both of those rails just the same way that the iMac does. I think that's easy to understand for people walking into an Apple store, especially if they have a color difference between the two. And so yeah, I think that machine will show up, and I think it'd be a great option for you. I mean, you're living the Mac Mini lifestyle now, and moving to Apple Silicon, I think would be. I mean, I don't foresee that being any problems in your setup because you're using Windows for your weird audio stuff anyways. So I think you could just move right over and just see the benefits.
All right, so moving on, we also got some other Mac-related news today, Steven. Apple made the new Magic accessories that they released with the iMacs a few months ago available for standalone purchase. So that means the new Magic Keyboard with Touch ID and the redesigned Magic Trackpad and the Magic Mouse. I don't understand, like, is there anything different about the Magic Mouse?
I think the side profile is like slightly different, but
okay.
it ain't much.
Like the Magic Trackpad, you can see that it's got like a more rounded shape, which I think looks nice. And obviously the Magic Keyboard has Touch ID, which is only, can you confirm that it only works on M1 computers?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It will not work. See, even more reason to stop using this Mac Mini that I have.
Yeah, I bought my wife a new keyboard. So she uses a M1 MacBook Air, but always in clamshell mode, like tucked behind an LG display. And so it's going to be great for her because she'll be able to use Touch ID when she's at her desk. And if you use like an M1 Mac Mini or a notebook, maybe it's not even in clamshell mode, but maybe it's like on a stand up next to your display. It's no fun, like reaching up there trying to hit the button.
No.
And so having it just on the desk is gonna be great. I wish I could do it on my machine. I would have bought one for myself if the Intel Mac supported it.
Same. Like, I'm so tired of typing in passwords. And I have this Satechi X1 Slim keyboard. I actually, now that I think about it, now that we're talking about this, I don't know why I'm using this Satechi keyboard anymore. Because, like, I made this purchase. It was actually very kindly sold to me by a Club Mac Stories member and shipped all the way from Canada. It took like 40 days to arrive via the postal service in Italy. But I bought this when I thought, certainly iPadOS 15 will introduce some major changes to external displays.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that I'm ready with a keyboard that lets me seamlessly switch between multiple devices. But then, like, I haven't thought about it in a while because then WWDC happened and I started working on the iOS review. But now that I think about it, why am I using this keyboard? I'm not using the iPad Pro with an external display anymore because I got tired of waiting for Apple. So I just sort of went back to when I need to do stuff at my Mac, I'm just going to use my Mac, but otherwise I'm just working on the iPad either as a tablet, like for those times when I just want to hold the iPad like on the couch or something. But really, I would say 70% of the time, I'm just using the Magic Keyboard and I'm just looking at the iPad screen because I got tired of the pillar boxing and the, not having real multiple windows on an external display. I got tired of waiting. When it happens, I will reconsider. But so why am I using this keyboard?
I don't know.
I should go back to the Magic Keyboard.
You should.
There's no point in doing this. But the thing is, are they selling the compact Magic Keyboard in space gray now?
No, these are all silver. They're all silver. And the regular Magic Keyboard, so like the one that I have here on my desk, also got a revision, the one without Touch ID, and it's rounded a little bit. Looks a little bit different. I should say though too that all of these come with Lightning, for charging and the initial sync, but it now comes with a braided USB-C to Lightning cable, which is pretty sweet because most Macs now just have USB-C, and so they transitioned this to USB-C to Lightning in a very nice white cable. So you could, Federico, get a new Magic Keyboard with no Touch ID, but it's still just going to be silver. Space gray is gone, and you can't get these in any of the fun iMac colors either.
Hold on. So, okay, hold on. Let's consider this as a live thing to do on the show. So, there is a new Magic Keyboard, but it does not have Touch ID. Is that the version that I could get?
Yeah, that would work with your Intel Mac Mini. Yes. It's $99.
Okay, I see it. It's 109 euros. What's different about it? It's slightly more rounded.
It's yeah, and I don't know if it uses a different.
Is there anything different in the key
I
mechanism?
don't know.
Can we call up Myke in Romania and ask him about the key mechanism of the Magic Keyboard?
Because the Magic Keyboard and the laptops and the Magic Keyboard like I have now, like mine is from 2017 or something. I've had this one a long time. They are slightly different, so I would assume they.
It's got Zach says in Discord, it's got the globe key. Thank you,
It
Zach.
does. It has the globe key, and it has a lock key instead of an eject key.
Okay, cool. All good information.
So it is slightly different. I don't think it's worth, like, if you already have a Magic Keyboard on an Intel machine, like, it's not worth buying this.
I'm not getting it. I'm just, I have a bunch of Magic Keyboards. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, but even more reason to upgrade to an M1 whatever based
Touch ID.
Touch ID compatible Mac Mini.
Since he's gone, can we talk about Mike's taping his keyboard to the underside of his desk for Touch ID?
I saw that photo. What's going on? So is that a real thing that he did? I thought it was just like a thing he said he was going to do.
No, he did it.
But Myke says many things.
I know. Yeah, he's a big talker, but he has that yellow iMac that he bought, and he uses his fancy mechanical gamer keyboards. And so he Velcroed or double-sided tape or something, the yellow Magic Keyboard that came with the iMac to the underside of his desk where he can just reach his finger under there and hit the Touch ID button.
That's a life hack if I've ever seen one. I mean, it's kind of genius though, right? Like you can just hold your finger under your desk. It's like a secret button. You know how in the movies, like there's the bad guy and he presses a button under his desk and like a hole opens, and you fall into like the sewers or something. You know, like you fall into the underground prison, for example. It's kind of like that. You press a button, and it's like a trap for your office. I love it. I love the placement of the keyboard under his desk. That's perfect. What if the folks at iFixit took this apart and managed to just make the Touch ID button work without the keyboard?
That'd be great.
Like, what if you could figure out a way to just have a Touch ID button that you could put on your desk?
That'd be fantastic.
I mean, I guess it's technically possible, right? If you know, like in the circuit board and the chips, what's going where, right? I mean, you keep it connected to Bluetooth.
I feel like you need a lot of the inside of the keyboard.
I feel maybe.
Okay, what if instead of that, you had your desk and you like routed out like the wood of your desk, like at an angle. So the keyboard was like in the desk, but the only key that was visible at the surface was the Touch ID button. And the rest was just like hidden by the top of the desk. In-desk Touch ID. It's the future.
Anyway, we should move on because we have a bunch of other topics to talk about.
Let's take a break. This episode of Connected is brought to you by Instabug. Building mobile apps presents some challenges. Bugs, crashes, and performance issues can be a nightmare for developers. But what if you could not only detect all of those issues, but understand the quality of your app from your user's point of view? Well, Instabug's lightweight SDK grabs all the insights you need to build quality apps. Through comprehensive bug and crash reports, performance monitoring, and real-time user feedback, all in one SDK. With Instabug, you can continuously monitor and measure the performance of your app as perceived by your users. You can then engage with your users by letting them report issues and questions right from inside your app. You don't have to send them out to a website. So get all the information you need about bugs, crashes, and other issues so you can fix those issues in record time. Instabug lets you do all of this with a focus on privacy and security. And you don't have to worry about the hassle of switching to new tools. It only takes a minute to integrate Instabug into your app, and it fits right within your workflow with support for Jira, Slack, Trello, GitHub, and Zendesk, or wherever you are handling your issues. Join over 25,000 top mobile developers around the world who use Instabug to ship high-quality apps. Go to try.instabug.com/connected. That's try.instabug.com/connected. Our thanks to Instabug for their support of the show and Relay FM. Do you see this big Jeremy news?
Jeremy is now a millionaire, I assume, but this is what it means. So Emojipedia got sold. Emojipedia was acquired by a smartphone company called Zedge. Is that how you would say this, Steven? Zedge?
That's how I would see it.
Yeah.
It is the number one phone personalization app in the world.
Okay. Well, I never heard of it before. But I mean, I'm going to the website and I see it's one of those apps with that's got like wallpaper packs, custom icons, that sort of stuff, it seems. And they do ringtones, live wallpapers. It seems like they're more popular on Android. This kind of utility makes more sense on Android where you have deeper customization for the UI.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it makes more sense there. But yeah, Emojipedia started in 2013. Is that when Emojipedia started? I want to say it's 2013.
I think that's when Emojipedia started. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been around for a while now, and it's now part of this.
Zedge was founded in 2003.
Oh wow. Okay. So it's kind of like before smartphones were a thing, even.
Yeah.
And they are the new owners of Emojipedia, and for now, obviously, as with a lot of these acquisitions, it seems like Emojipedia will continue to operate. So there will still be a website. There will still be the Emojipedia previews of the new emoji and the emoji draft, all the things that we know and love about Emojipedia. Hopefully, it's always a concern when companies get acquired that they only stick around for a while. And initially, it seems like everything is going as before, and then changes happen. And now, obviously changes are going to happen to Emojipedia, right? But hopefully not too much. And hopefully this will continue to be like the source for, keeping track of the history of emoji, because it's really quite a comprehensive database that they have. It's really incredible, all the different versions of emoji that they are documenting on Emojipedia. So it'll be a shame if if the entire archive of Emojipedia were to not be supported anymore. So congrats to, Jeremy is a friend. So congrats to Jeremy. We are really happy.
Definitely.
That this is a big deal. It's a big milestone. And Jeremy, if you want to, leave everything behind and enjoy your millions of dollars on your boat, we will also understand that. It's also fine. So we will not fault you for doing that in the future. We still love you.
I have some personal news.
How personal?
I spoke to Jeremy today about the naming of the Jeremies. I've decided, in no way part of the cash deal that I made on the side, that we will continue to call that game the Jeremies in honor of our fallen friend.
Wow. Fallen friend. That's
no, this is awesome. I'm super happy for Jeremy and the team, and I don't think he would do anything to hurt the future of Emojipedia. So I expect that it has a bright future ahead of it.
Yes, congrats, Jeremy, and everyone else involved. We're still gonna play our game. We still love guessing the emoji. So, congrats, Jeremy. Well done. YouTube Premium Lite. What is this? So, is it premium or is it light? No, it's Premium Lite.
It's Premium Lite.
This is a new tier of YouTube Premium that is cheaper than YouTube Premium proper. In fact, it's called Lite. So it's not $11.99 a month. It's $6.99 a month, being tested in Europe. Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden.
Very specific parts of Europe.
Very specific markets. I guess the difference here is that, so this is YouTube Premium, but what you do not get, so you still get ad-free, the mobile apps, smart TVs, YouTube Kids, all that stuff. You do not get the benefits of YouTube Music. So you cannot listen to music ad-free, and you do not get any background playback feature in the main YouTube app for video. And also you do not get offline downloads. So it's YouTube Premium without downloads, background playback, and ad-free music listening. I have to assume, I haven't seen this mentioned anywhere, And it's still a feature in testing, I suppose. I do not have it. But I assume that picture-in-picture will not be part of this either. So because it's technically background playback, I assume that picture-in-picture, whenever it launches in YouTube for everyone, it will not be available to Premium Lite. That would be my assumption.
Yeah, that's how I read it too. I do have picture-in-picture. I pay for YouTube Premium.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. And it's great. It's so good.
No need to mention that. I know. I keep checking every single day and it's not here.
Yeah, it's really good. I've paid for YouTube Premium for several years now for the ad-free experience. Myke and Jason spoke about YouTube Premium a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I watch quite a bit of YouTube, and so I like the ad-free experience, and the background playback is really nice too, especially if you're just like listening to something, and picture-in-picture just makes that even better. So yeah, if you're in Luxembourg, I guess try this out and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I think we have listeners in Luxembourg. I bet we got a couple.
I'm sure we do. We have listeners everywhere.
If you were listening in Luxembourg, please let us know.
I've thought about this. Like, I don't listen to music on YouTube. I could switch to this. Offline downloads. I mean, I haven't been on a plane and having to download YouTube videos for offline usage in forever at this point. I could potentially switch to this, but then I realized, picture-in-picture will likely not be part of this. And once I get it, I am going to need picture-in-picture for all kinds of YouTube video consumption that I do. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of YouTube videos from a lot of creators, you can leave them in the background and you can do something else, right? Have you seen, Steven, this thread on Twitter a few days ago? Someone retweeted it in my timeline, and it was essentially about like this person on Twitter having this super long thread about like, here's something I've realized about how creators are gaming the YouTube algorithm to make longer videos and have you stick around. And I'm going to explain that to you in a thread. But before I get to that, let me tell you this other thing. And it was basically like the thread version of a lot of YouTube videos where they say 100 words just to explain 10 words, which is the core concept. And that is because they need to make it longer so that people stick around more and watch a longer video. Therefore, it feels like there's more engagement for the algorithm and all of that. But the Twitter thread was exhausting to read because it was literally styled in the sense of, but before I get to that, let me tell you this other thing. And why is that? Because as I told you before, like it was so verbose and done in the style of so many videos on YouTube these days. Like whenever I watch headphone reviews, for example, on YouTube, those reviews could be condensed to 5 minutes. And instead they are 25 minutes, right? And I understand why. And I love those creators. But those are videos that I could easily put in the background and watch with picture-in-picture because there's a lot of repetition and, highlighting the same concept multiple times to make a longer video. And so I'm not complaining against those creators. I understand it's necessary because the algorithms, it's hanging over all of them. And I understand. But that is also why I want picture-in-picture because those are the kinds of videos that I just want to put them on in the background, I don't need to pay close attention to them.
Right. And especially on the iPad, picture-in-picture is so great for note-taking and research purposes. It's fine on the iPhone. I mean, even on the Pro Max, picture-in-picture feels a little cramped, but I've really enjoyed it on my iPad Pro.
I use it on the iPhone for Twitch. It's like you make it small and you can still follow along to a stream. I do that for Myke's keyboards sometimes.
Yeah, I put him in a little box.
Yeah, I put him in a little box and he stays there, soldering stuff, building keyboards. It's fun. It's cute. It's Myke in a little corner. All right. So, Steven, I have a fun topic for you. It's about Nintendo. It's about side loading.
Oh, boy.
It's about emulators. It's got it all. There's everything in this topic.
Okay.
But before we get to that topic, we should thank our friends at Squarespace.
Oh, that sounds good. This episode of Connected is made possible. It's brought to you, dear listener, by Squarespace. They're the all-in-one platform to build your online presence and run your business. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, they've got you covered. Squarespace combines cutting-edge design and world-class engineering. They even throw in unlimited hosting, top-of-the-line security, and dependable resources, 24/7 customer support, basically everything you need to create a beautiful and modern website. You start with a professionally designed template and use drag-and-drop tools to make it your own. You can customize the look and feel, colors, typefaces, layout, the products you have on sale, and more with just a few clicks. And all Squarespace websites are optimized for mobile viewing, so your content automatically adjusts so it'll look great on any device. If you need a domain name, they have a tool to make it quick and easy to grab one. Plus, they have all the tools you need for SEO and email marketing as well. So use Squarespace to turn your big idea into a website. Showcase your work with their incredible portfolio designs, publish your next blog post or podcast, promote your business, and so much more. I really do love building with Squarespace. I've built a bunch of sites on their platform over the years, and it just keeps getting better and better. The drag and drop stuff is really powerful. And if you need an escape hatch, if you need to write some custom CSS or put stuff in the header of a page or anything like that, you can do that too. So it has those power options there for you as well. Head on over to squarespace.com/connected for a free trial with no credit card required. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code CONNECTED to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain name. That's squarespace.com/connected. And when you decide to sign up, use the offer code CONNECTED to get 10% off your first purchase and to show your support for the show. Our thanks to Squarespace for their support of Connected and all of Relay FM.
Parts of this conversation were held before on Remaster, connected with Myke when you were not around, but that was the beginning of this problem. Now the problem has evolved, and the problem has turned, as with many things that involve me, into a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna need to contextualize things for you, Steven, because I don't think you are as well in tune with certain Nintendo news.
No.
So there's this Nintendo series called Metroid.
Right.
Okay. It's about this space explorer.
Yeah.
She needs to explore planets and kill monsters. Now, it's a long stand, and this is a super simplified description of it. Anyway, there's a new Metroid game coming to the Nintendo Switch in October called Metroid Dread. And it took everybody by surprise because it's like everybody kind of felt that Nintendo had forgotten about Metroid. And so when they announced Dread, everyone was like, oh, wow, okay, that's amazing. And a bunch of people, including myself, thought, well, it's coming out in October, so maybe the summer could be a good opportunity to revisit older Metroid games, because this one is going to be the official fifth installment in the Metroid series, picking up where previous games left off. And so a bunch of people thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to start playing old Metroid games again, starting from the first one up until the fourth one in preparation for the new one coming out on the Switch. And I had the same idea, right? And so the Metroid one came out on the first, on the NES in the 80s. It's not a good game to play these days. It's a very old NES video game. But Nintendo did a remake of this game about 15 years ago on the Game Boy Advance with new graphics, new sounds, new updated gameplay called Metroid Zero Mission. So Zero Mission is the remake of the first Metroid. If you never played Metroid before, you can start there. It's got better graphics, it's more playable, it's more approachable than an NES game. A couple of months ago, I called my mom. My mom is moving between houses, so she's packing a lot of boxes, a lot of games. I was like, hey mom, can you please find this game for me? So it was a whole thing. She found all my old GBA games. And among those games, she found my cartridge of Metroid Zero Mission for the GBA that I bought in 2003, 4, when I was 15 or 16 or something. And so I started playing this game on the GBA. One of the many things that I obsess about is having... Steven, of all people, you can understand this. I have every Nintendo console in a playable state in my house. Like I have the original hardware for everything at this point. Just because I feel like if I want to play an old game, I should be able to do that on original functioning hardware. And that over the years has meant, changing the batteries, fixing the screen, buying a new Nintendo GameCube, finding my Nintendo Wii U again. It's something I care about because I care about Nintendo and I want to have original hardware. So I start playing Zero Mission on a Game Boy Advance. And it took me one night to start feeling this pain on my wrists. Because the Game Boy Advance is a very small console. And my hands are not as small as they used to be, I guess. Or I simply got older. And now my hands cannot stand, being in that fixed position for several hours straight. I woke up the next morning and my wrists were hurting, both of them. I was like, well, maybe that's not a good sign. So, cannot play on the GBA. So I thought, well, of all the Nintendo consoles that I have, I also have an old Nintendo DS. The Nintendo DS, you can put a GBA cartridge in, and you can play GBA games on a Nintendo DS. And for those asking in the chat room, Justin, I do not have a Virtual Boy. Unfortunately, never had a Virtual Boy. Mm-hmm. And Zach, I tried both the original GBA form factor as well as the SP, which is the clamshell version of the GBA that they did. I did not try on the GBA Micro because,
that's not going to help, right? It's the wrong direction.
That's the wrong direction for me. But yes, I also have a GBA Micro. So the DS, I thought, well, the DS, slightly bigger than a GBA, better screen, it's the backlit is better than the GBA. I could play that in compatibility mode. So I continued the game on the DS, and I tried that for a couple nights, make good progress on the game. And same problem occurs.
Oh, man.
A few days later. My hands were hurting, my fingers were all weird, and my wrists were hurting, and I needed to write the review, and I thought, I need my hands, especially in the summer, because my hands are like the primary tool of my job.
Same.
And I cannot afford to not being able to type in the summer. But also, man, I really wanted to play Metroid, right? So I kept digging and digging down further into the rabbit hole. I thought, well, okay. So I know that I've put a bunch of progress into this GBA cartridge. But what if I take the old Nintendo Wii U, which is the console that came before the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Wii U, you can still use the Nintendo eShop on it. And the Nintendo Wii U, unlike the Nintendo Switch, as a virtual console. So the virtual console is the initiative that Nintendo used to do of you could purchase all the Nintendo games as effectively like an official emulator on the Nintendo Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS.
Okay.
And in fact, a lot of people following the announcement of the new Metroid for Nintendo Switch had the same idea. Because I saw a tweet a while back showing here's what the Nintendo eShop on a Wii U looks like now. Because if you boot it up and if you open the eShop, you can still see charts for top-selling games on that old console. And basically, every Metroid game was in the top charts for the virtual console on the Wii U. Because everybody had the same idea. And I thought, okay, I'm going to lose my progress on the cartridge. But the Wii U, it's got a gamepad, which is much bigger, much more comfortable for my hands. It's like a chunky, thick Nintendo Switch, basically. What if I start playing the game from scratch, which is going to suck because I was 2 or 3 hours into the game. But what if I start playing on the Wii U? And it's probably not going to destroy my hands. So I did a whole thing, right? I needed to find, because I didn't have enough HDMI ports in my TV to accommodate both the Nintendo Switch and the Wii U. So I found an HDMI's, switch on Amazon. It's like a little thing that from one HDMI port, it gives you two.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I bought it, and it works beautifully. It even it auto switches between consoles, depending on the signal when the console turns on. Super nicely done. So I set it up in the back of my TV. It was a whole thing. start playing on the Wii U. And I was like, oh wow, this is much better. My hands are okay. It's not hurting. I love it. I'm gonna play on the Wii U. We talked about this on Connected and on Remaster, I think. The thing is, emulation for Metroid Zero Mission on the Virtual Console is terrible.
Is it like
that game,
slow or laggy? Like, why is it bad?
Slow. It's laggy. The frame rate is all over the place.
Oh, man.
Like you can see the game dropping frames when you jump. I was like, oh no, this is no way to play a game.
No.
I cannot do this. This is terrible. The only nice thing about it, I mean, besides the fact that it was on the Wii U and it was more comfortable, was that the Virtual Console supports custom save states, meaning you can save the game without being at a checkpoint in the game, because it's an emulator, right? So you can create a save point anywhere. It's like this. There's like this custom UI on top of it that lets you save your progress anywhere.
Yeah, it's like saving like a virtual machine, right? Like you just do it at any point.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You're done.
Any point, and you can and it's better for like modern times, right? Because I mean, I'm an adult. Yes, I love playing video games, but also my video game time is very limited these days. So this kind of feature is welcome. But that emulation was horrible. Like, it was genuinely terrible. And so I was very sad for a few days until earlier this week. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. I sat down, started doing my research, and I realized, okay, if I want to do this, I want to play Metroid games with a system that lets me save anywhere and is always with me, and emulation is good enough, and my hands are not going to kill me, I'm going to have to go with the emulation route on the iPhone. I'm going to have to install a Nintendo, a GBA emulator on the iPhone. So I came up with two solutions, but I'm sticking with one of them. The first one is an emulator that is really well known called Provenance. Now, Provenance is an emulator for a bunch of Nintendo consoles, as well as old Atari consoles, the Lynx and the Jaguar, the Bandai WonderSwan and WonderSwan Color, the Sega Master System, Mega Drive. But, you know, for all that concerned me was, can it play GBA, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo 64 games? And the answer is yes. So Provenance, it's very well known. You can install it on the iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV. The thing is, the installation process, it's a bit convoluted.
Yeah, I'm reading this page as you're speaking. It's like, oh, this is a lot of things to jump through.
Yes. So the thing is, you got to clone the repo using the terminal, which is fine. It's like a single command. The thing is, then you got to open the Xcode workspace using Xcode, and you got to switch all settings related to targets and signing certificates. So make sure that you have a developer account. Make sure that you follow the step-by-step procedure to the letter. Otherwise, the build will fail. And eventually, you can build and run, and you can install Provenance on your iPhone. And if you have a developer account, like a paid developer account, that app will stay installed with the signing certificate for a year. So that took me like an hour to figure out, but I have Provenance installed. It's fine. Metroid plays well. It plays much, much better than the Virtual Console from Nintendo itself.
You have it on your phone?
I have it on my phone.
Okay.
Looking at it, you can use MiFi controllers with it.
That's what I was going to ask.
Cool.
Can you use
yes.
Can you use controllers?
Yes, you can. You can use controllers. It's got custom save points. It's the UI is not beautiful in Provenance. It's very functional, but it gets the job done. However, what I think I'm going to stick with is something that a lot of people have been doing for a while, that I did in the past and then stopped doing, but now I realize this is the thing for me. I'm going to sideload using AltStore. So AltStore is this alternative app store made by Riley Tested. Really great guy, has been running AltStore for the past couple of years. And it's effectively like this alternative app store that lets you sideload apps from your Mac or a Windows PC on your iPhone or iPad. Now, the installation procedure there is also like quite convoluted. You gotta have a developer account. You gotta install a mail plugin in Apple Mail for Mac that sort of handles like the bridging between your computer and the iPhone. But once you do, you end up with this Alt Store app on your device. And by the way, for all those complaining, like making piracy jokes in the Discord, this is not like me saying piracy is good, although there's an argument to be made about what role piracy plays in video game preservation. But I digress. That's another topic for another time. I have physical copies of all the games I'm gonna play. I even have Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Wii. I have it all, man. I got all the games I wanna play. It's just that Nintendo is silly. Anyway, Altstore has an emulator called Delta, also made by Rally Tested, that lets you play GBA, Game Boy Color, Super Nintendo, and even Nintendo DS games on your iPhone. And the thing is, Delta has excellent performance and it's beautiful. Like Delta is a really pretty emulator that supports both portrait mode on the iPhone, landscape mode, and MI5 controllers. I started playing Metroid with Delta, and I love it. I love it because performance is it feels like playing the original game. I haven't seen any issue related to frame rate or choppy animations like I saw in the Virtual Console. What I like about it is that I can choose to play in landscape with the controller, or I can play in portrait mode. And you can choose these custom skins that you can install in Delta that sort of make your iPhone screen look like a Game Boy. It's really nicely done, and you can install some real pretty skins. And when you play, I love playing in portrait mode because it feels like I'm holding a Game Boy. And when you press the buttons in Delta, like the D-pad or the A and B buttons, you get haptic feedback. It's like after a while, you stop paying attention to the fact that you're emulating a Nintendo Game Boy, and it feels like you're pressing buttons on a Game Boy, thanks to the Taptic engine on the iPhone. Ooh. It's really well done. And it's so pretty. Like, I'm going to send you a screenshot, Steven. So I started playing last night. I played for 2 hours. And I'm catching up to where I used to be in the cartridge. And I played with my Backbone controller, which is this really well done MI5 controller for iPhone that plugs in. It's got this Nintendo Switch-like design, plugs into the Lightning port, and it's got this split design with one half on the left side and the other half of the controller on the right side of the iPhone. Played for a couple of hours. It's fine, but guess what? My hands were hurting when I
You're just getting
playing.
old, man. That's what it comes down to.
But thanks to my excellent research skills, I think I've found the final sort of solution that works for me. I'm going to send you the link. It's in the show notes. This thing is called the Power A Moga Clip for Xbox controllers. So you take an Xbox controller, you buy this little thing that costs $15, and you snap it on the controller, and then you put your phone inside of the clip. It's like a little cradle for your iPhone.
Yeah, it's like if you've seen, maybe they still do this, but a lot of drone controllers do this as well. You use your phone as the viewfinder, and then you have analog sticks to fly.
The thing is, I know the Xbox controller. Xbox controller is fine for my hands. Doesn't hurt me. Xbox controller doesn't hurt me. Doesn't want me dead. It's fine. It's not gonna hurt me. I know that. I'm going to say something that potentially upsets quite a few people. I prefer the ergonomics of the Xbox controller to the DualShock, or should I say the DualSense on PS5.
I was going to say they changed the name.
They changed the name. The DualSense, the only thing it's got going for it is the cool design and the haptic feedback, which is really well done. But ergonomically, this one, the Xbox One, is better for my hands. Mm-hmm. So starting tonight, I'm going to put my iPhone hovering above the controller, and I'm gonna play Delta in landscape mode as I wanted to say as God intended, but no, nobody intended this, really. Nobody did.
Apple definitely didn't, that's for sure.
Apple didn't, Nintendo didn't, accessory makers probably did. But this is how I'm gonna play old Nintendo games. On a phone, on top of an Xbox controller, held in place by a plastic clip that I got from Amazon.
For $14.
That's for $14. That's the dream setup, man. It's this thing.
You're living in the future, my friend.
I am. Now, what does this say about Nintendo and a missed opportunity with the virtual console? Like, I shouldn't have to do this, right? I shouldn't have to do any of this. I should be able to give Nintendo my money again for a game that I purchased when I was 15 and that in 2021 I want to play again because a sequel is coming out. But it's like Nintendo doesn't understand this and they don't want my money. They don't want anybody's money, it seems. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm playing with Delta, an Alt Store, and an Xbox controller. And so one last thing. Now that I have Alt Store, couple of things. I'm using like a free separate developer account to authenticate with Alt Store because I always felt kind of weird about giving my main developer account to Alt Store.
Yeah. Good call.
Now, do people do that? Because I know that if you use a paid developer account, you can increase the signing limit from 7 days to a year. And so basically right now I gotta refresh the apps installed via Alt Store every 7 days by connecting them to a computer. I guess the solution could be keep the account separate, but sign up for an Apple developer account again. Mm-hmm. And so maybe I could do that. But also, what are other apps that are cool to use on Alt Store? I know that there's like a category of apps that people install. It's like tweaks for existing apps. Like there's YouTube ++ and Instagram ++. Like those are like popular tweaks among Alt Store users. Now, if I install those, will they arrest me? Like, will like Google get upset? Like, I don't know. It feels kind of sketchy, right? It feels kind of, I don't know.
I mean, you're definitely pushing the bounds of what Apple.
But this is not
intends.
jailbreaking.
No.
Potential. Like technically, it's not jailbreaking.
Right. It's sideloading.
It's sideloading.
This really gets to the conversation of like, is the iPhone a computer or a console in the sense that all software has to come from the same place? And I definitely fall on the iPhone and especially the iPad. Or should be more like computers, where if you want to do this, you could install something outside of the bounds of the App Store. I mean, I'm sure one reason, and I'm sure there's a million reasons why Nintendo hasn't built something official for iOS where you could play all these games and, emulation, is that Apple doesn't allow emulation on iOS, and Nintendo wouldn't want to give Apple 30% of every purchase. And so, like, there's all these fences put up around the iPhone and iPad that, you can get around. Or if you're on a Mac, you just don't have those fences necessarily. But it keeps cool stuff from happening, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, exactly. Like it shouldn't be this difficult, especially if I know what I'm doing, if I have a developer account. Like, I don't know, and there's Gatekeeper on the Mac. Like we've talked about this before. It should be easier to take control of your computer and do exactly what you want to do because you can do that on a Mac. Like you want to play old Nintendo games on a Mac, you just install an emulator and you're good to go. You can download one from the internet and it's fine. But if you want to do that on an iOS device, well, good luck. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to keep using... I'm going to post... Steven, by the way, this is why people should have the Connected Pro, because I'm posting in the Discord a picture of what Delta looks like with the skin that I'm using on my iPhone. This is not a Game Boy. This is an iPhone. And it's so pretty, right? Look at that.
It looks really good.
If connected listeners have any recommendations for tweaks or apps to install via Alt Store sources, let me know. And we can talk about them in the future.
I got some real-time follow-up before we move on.
Okay.
It's about GPUs again.
Okay.
They are available for standalone purchase. Do you want to hear the prices?
Let me guess.
Okay. So the 6800X, the new kind of middle of the road.
I don't know. $1,500.
$2,800.
Okay, almost doubled that. Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
The Radeon Pro W6800X Duo. So this has two W6800Xs on board.
Wow. Okay. Oof. Well, I don't think you're going to get one, Steven, right? I mean, You can buy another computer
Yeah.
with that money.
You run to the Mac Pro. That one is $5,000.
Oh,
And the W6900X, the most expensive one, how much do you think that runs?
12,000.
Oh, it's a relative deal at $6,000.
Well, cheap enough.
It makes the old Vega 2 one seem a lot cheaper.
Wow.
Yeah, these are pricey. These are real pricey.
So tell me again, what kind of tasks people use GPUs for? Video,
playing Game
rendering?
Boy emulation.
Delta. playing Metroid. Making Metroid, possibly. I don't know. I
I think it's more on that creation end than anything else.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So you can drop $6,000 in your Mac Pro if you want a W69X.
And maybe
you can have two of them because you got so many MPU slots. So MPU, that's a podcast. MPX slots. What if they called them MPU slots? That'd be fun for me. Okay, we're going to talk about magnets in a minute. But first, let me tell you about our final sponsor, and that is Smile, our friends that make the wonderful Text Expander. Text Expander removes the repetition out of work so you can focus on what matters most. Say goodbye to repetitive text entries, spelling errors, and trying to remember the right thing to say. When you use Text Expander, you can say the right thing in just a few keystrokes. It's better than copy and paste and better than scripts and templates. Text Expander snippets allow you to maximize your time by getting rid of the repetitive things you type while still customizing and personalizing your messages. Text Expander can be used on any platform, any app, anywhere you type. So take back your time and increase your productivity with Text Expander. I have just tons and tons of things in Text Expander. I have all the common things like addresses and emails and that sort of thing, but I also have a lot of links and language that I need to send to people on a regular basis. So if we have a guest on a podcast, I have one with like the Zoom link and all that where I can fill out the time and the date and everything. Common links for membership support I have in Text Expander. It really makes me be able to work much faster. As a listener of Connected, you can get 20% off your first year. Visit textexpander.com/podcast to learn more. That's textexpander.com/podcast. Our thanks to Text Expander from Smile for their support of the show and Relay FM. So, Federico, a while back, you bought the MagSafe PopSocket system, and it's finally shown up, and I would love to hear what you think about this. But give people a reminder of, why this is an issue. Why would you want to combine magnets and PopSockets?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know why I bought it. Like, I think I bought... Honestly, I think I bought it because Myke kept on insisting how much he loves the PopSockets. And what I don't like about PopSockets is how you got to stick them to your phone. And I saw that there was a MagSafe enabled version, and I'm a sucker for all things MagSafe. So I guess I just wanted to try it. And so I got the standard sort of MagSafe PopSocket with MagSafe and the wallet version as well. And honestly, like, it's pretty much what you expect. So there's a PopSocket attached to this little base that snaps onto MagSafe on your phone. It seems to be working better if you have a MagSafe case attached to your phone. I've seen reports of the PopSocket not having as strong a connection if it goes just to the phone. But I have a case. I have a silicone case and a leather case. Both are MagSafe, like official cases by Apple. And it's really fine. It stays in place, and it's a PopSocket. You can hold the thing in between your fingers with your hand in the back of the phone. Honestly, it's pretty much what I expected. So from that perspective, it's not a disappointment at all. It works perfectly. It stays in place. Connection is strong, and you can use it as a PopSocket. Small enough, doesn't add a ton of thickness to the phone. It's perfect. Like, they delivered on what they promised. The wallet version, also interesting. So they have this different mechanism where you put up to 3 cards into the wallet, And the wallet, of course, also has a pop socket on the outer side of it. But then when you want to grab your cards, you push down on this fabric section that they have at the top. And because it's soft, you can push the cards down and you can pick up the card that you need. It's really nice. And the fabric is nice. It's really well done. Build quality is good. And it attaches via MagSafe. And if anything, I will say this is my favorite accessories when it comes to detaching from MagSafe, because you can pull from the pop socket, right? And it detaches if you apply enough force. So it's fine. But in trying this, it made me realize that no matter how you slice it, I don't think I'm a pop socket person. I don't think I can be. Holding the 12 Pro Max, it's really not a problem for my hands. And I know, I'm, got big hands. I'm a tall guy and everything. I understand why pop sockets are popular among people who struggle to hold large phones. And I think they are the perfect accessory for that case. It feels kind of necessary for me, Like, sometimes I even forget to pop it out and to hold my phone like that, because I don't need to, right? I can just hold my phone and it's fine. So as a MagSafe accessory, I would say approved. They did what they had to do. You don't need to stick your pop socket to your phone with like that suction cup thing that they have, which I always disliked. They have a MagSafe attachment that works really nicely and stays in place both for the standard version and the wallet version. But as they say in the best rom-coms, look, it's not you, it's me, pop socket. The problem is me. So, not for me. I think I'm going to give this to Myke at some point if he wants some. I'm going to write about it, but yeah, not for me. I'm not the target pop socket user.
Yeah, a couple things here. One, I like on their website, the animation they have is using Apple's really ugly clear case. And so this is a great way to cover those white lines up, which is nice. I've also heard people say, I think it's definitely true, the battery pack Apple released also sticks better if you have a case. I think the magnets are just, I don't know, like the cases are thinner and so the magnets are closer, but that's been my experience as well with other products.
See, that could be actually. That could be that there's nothing else going on in the case. It's just magnets. Whereas maybe in the case of the iPhone, there's other stuff going on there. That could be actually. That's why the connection is stronger.
Yeah, I think overall MagSafe is better if you have a MagSafe case, the silicone or the leather, which is what I'm using. You can customize these, so the base is black, but you can pop off the pop socket part and put, your own print on one. Myke did a custom one with the Relay logo on it a couple years ago, so you can still customize this. I'm like you though, I'm not really a pop socket person. I do have one on my Kindle Oasis, and I like it for that because the Kindle Oasis is just an awkward size to try to hold, and I really like it there. But I've tried it on my phone. I mean, a few years ago on Connected, we did a challenge where I think you and I had to use a pop socket for like 2 weeks, and Myke had to go without or something, and I see why people like it. It's just not for me, especially in the MagSafe world. But I'm glad that it's here. I mean, it took them a long time, but it sounds like they did it right, which is impressive. A lot of us definitely had concerns, and their website says, don't hold your phone just by the grip, but it seems like it's a lot better than it could have been. So I think the delay is totally understandable.
I'm growing my MagSafe collection for sure. Now that I'm going to the beach, I'm going to have a whole stack of MagSafe accessories to choose from. Probably going to need like a separate bag just for my MagSafe accessories.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what you need. You need like a metal briefcase. So they like magnetize to the case and you like pop them off and pop it on your phone.
No, what I need is a belt with MagSafe clips, and I can just pop them off.
I feel like we've had this very idea before.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Maybe because it's a really good idea and somebody should do it. So imagine a belt, a MagSafe belt, and you can stick as many accessories as you want. And then depending on the situation and in the context you're in, you can snap on different accessories and you can store them on your belt.
I mean, all the coolest people store things on their belts, smartphones.
Cell phones back in the day, you would have like a little belt clip for your Nokia phone.
Oh, yeah.
Glorious times. Yes.
Well, I think that does it, Federico.
We've really covered the full spectrum of connected nonsense.
If you want to read more about the stuff we've spoken about, head on over to the website at relay.fm/connected/357. While you're there, you can send us an email with feedback or follow-up. Or if you want to join and get a longer ad-free version of the show each and every week, there's a join button there at the top of the page. Or you can go to relay.fm/connected/join. There's a little landing page there for you. Thank you so much if you are a supporting member. It really means a lot to us. While you're on the Relay website, check out Relay's newest show. We have a new show, Federico. We launched a new podcast this year.
I know.
This is a show called Conduit. If you want to explore the connections between what we should be doing and what ultimately gets done, I know I have that chasm in my life sometimes. Our friends Kathy and Jay are hosting a new show about that. Relay.fm/conduit, or search for Conduit wherever you get your podcasts. It's fantastic and super excited to have Jay on the network. That's a real honor for us. You can find Myke on Twitter. He's IMYKE. Again, he's off this week. He'll be back next week. You can find Federico on Twitter as Viticci, VITICCI, and he writes about MagSafe compatible products at macstories.net. You need magstories.net.
Wow. Okay.
Someone's going to get it. You got to get it. Mac Stories. And then just forward it to the category page for that. Done and done. Federico, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What Pokemon...
It's nice that you're doing this again. Okay.
What Pokemon do you feel like you resonate with the most?
Generally speaking?
I think there's different ways you could take this, so it's kind of up to you.
Okay, so what kind of Pokemon am I looking for here? It has to be a dog Pokemon, I think. Right?
I feel like
it's gotta be a dog. So let's see. Let me pull up some reference material here. I mean, I could go for the boring answer and give you the legendary dog from the latest Pokemon game. There's a bunch of dog Pokemon. Arcanine comes to mind. Lycanroc, but that's more of a wolf Pokemon. Houndoom, Entei, also legendary Pokemon. Okay, so I feel like I'm browsing through my reference material here.
You're Devin Think of Pokemon.
So okay, definitely a dog Pokemon because dogs are the best. So I'm torn between Zacian, who's the legendary fairy dog Pokemon from the last Pokemon game, or because it's a dog and I've always think it's a good buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arcanine. Arcanine from the very first 151 Pokemon, first generation, a very good dog. Pokemon who breathes fire, fire type dog Pokemon. Doesn't get any better than Arcanine.
I'll put that in the show notes so people can see.
Yeah? Okay.
You can find me on Twitter as ISMH, and I write over at 512pixels.net. And Federico and I and Myke, we all host a bunch of other shows here on Relay FM, so you can check that out if you want to hear more of us. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week. They are Instabug, Squarespace, and Smile. And until next time, Federico, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Bye, y'all.